hello, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Max on Color, and I'm your host Max, and my co-host Diego. Hey, Diego, what's up, man?
Hey everyone, how is everyone? How are you, Max? How's everything for you?
I'm doing great. What about you, Diego?
I'm actually great. Right now the weather is hot, so outside is beautiful.
Nice, nice. And Diego is joining us from Colombia, from Bogota, and I'm joining from Germany. So, good morning to you guys who's joining from the East Coast, West Coast? No, East Coast, right? And West Coast, sorry. Good morning to you who's joining us from the West Coast Pacific time. And good afternoon and good evening for you guys who's joining us from the European time. And today we are going to talk a little bit about remote collaborations. Perhaps you probably already wondering how does one work with somebody else's that located like in the outside in the other part of the world. For example, me located in Germany, and for example, if I want to work with Diego who's in Colombia, how do I do that? So perhaps in today's episode we are going to demystify that part a little bit, and to do that we are joined by our friend Tony Bari. Hey, Tony.
Hey,
Welcome
good to
back
see
to
you.
the episode, man. Welcome back to the show. It's really great to have you again here.
I feel like it's been a long time.
It
Nice.
was a week or how long was
Um,
it?
I think it's last 2 weeks we
Thanks.
had a session with Tony in Maxon Color,
That's
and
really
by the way, Tony is also hosting a webinar, like doing a webinar in Maxon platform, for every Monday of the month. That is a demystifying post productions, but without instead of me talking about that, let me just share my screen. So, in today's episode, we'll talk about the remote collaborations with Anthony Bari. And if you want to check the webinars that we host in Maxon platform, you can go to maxon.net/events, and you'll see that we also have the Mystifying Post Productions webinar, also with Tony Bari. We break down a project, a video production project that was done a couple of months ago, and we look into all other aspects from the planning, from the shooting, editing, and I think next week we're gonna talk about the grading part of the project. So if you are curious about the project, if you're curious about the workflow, I hope to see you in the Demystifying Post-Production webinar next Monday. And by the way, if you also haven't get your T-shirt, you can get a free T-shirt. By the way, you can get your free T-shirt by going to the link that we will paste, we'll copy and paste in the chat, and please use the code that is Creative Workflow to go into the site, right? So by using the code, you can get one of this T-shirt for free. You just need to pay for the shipping cost, which is around about $4. And if you want to check the old episode, like the old recording of the webinars that you probably missed, and you want to check that, you can do that by going to YouTube and search for Maxon Training Team. And there you'll see that we are always recording the sessions that we host. And you can you can simply go to playlist, and you can search for the Mystifying Post Productions or any Cinema 4D webinars, or even the Maxon Color webinars as well. So today's episode, we'll be talking about remote collaborations. And the idea, Tony will help walk us through about the, how do you call it, the best practice to do the remote collaborations. Perhaps you already see the teaser that we spread around the social media. But Tony, would you mind to explain what are we going to talk today, the agenda for
Sure,
today?
sure. So we'll talk about the third-party option, which is Frame.io, and then we'll talk about first-party inside of Resolve. And then also that goes towards if you're in Adobe, you can utilize Frame.io, which is now an Adobe product. But we'll talk about today how you can use remote collaborations in two different ways. Doing marking and reviewing, and then on the other side, chatting and actually working together. If you're working with a colorist or you're working with another editor or an assistant, you can actually be in the same project together inside of Resolve 18. So I'll share my screen in a moment.
Perhaps before we sharing
Sure.
sharing your screen, Tony, do you want to talk about the project a little bit?
Sure. It's the project that we shot in Santa Cruz
Yeah.
with the motorcycles.
So
we have this.
yeah, to just give you a teaser, this is the final movie that we how do you call it, that we did with Tony and with Sammy. So enjoy.
Everybody's bike like identifies who they are, and all the little things you could do, seeing what else is out there, and being comfortable, being uncomfortable is like a balance, because anything could happen. But overall, it's just a exhilarating feeling. Even though you're riding in a group, at the same time you're an individual. When you see somebody on the side of the road on a bike, you stop, you wave. When you see somebody riding by, even if they're on a different type of bike, it's just like a rule of the road. You're a part of that environment when you're on a bike that you never would have known existed. It's a full spectrum. And it's beautiful.
Very nice, Tony.
Yeah, it's a beautiful movie. Great shot.
I see Sammy in the audience. Hey, Sammy, welcome. Thank you for joining. And yeah, Tony, if you want to, we did this project remotely, right? But when we did this project, we also learned some things, like some tidbits that we are going to share with the audience today, right?
Yes. The fun part about it is I can say when I'm done with my project, I'm sending it to Germany to be color graded.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I can, I'll be able to poke around here and show you inside of the interface that we're all sharing
Absolutely.
a project. I'll show how to set that up.
I will share. How do you call it? I will. How do you call it? Give the floor to you, Tony.
Okay. So let me share my screen. And so here we are in Resolve. Before we even get to this point, I have a few markers. These are markers that are from Frame.io. And these are comments. This is anything yourself, a producer, a collaborator, anybody can do. And I'll show you how to set that up in Frame.io. And then we're also, if you look here, we're also in a collaborative project. All right, and I'll show you how to set that up. And I have Diego and Max in here in the same project as me. We're in Resolve version 18, all right? And this is 18, the fully released version. I'm currently in the studio, DaVinci Resolve Studio 18. So let me just flip over here and I'll share a couple of things to set this all up. So if you want to do the remote collaboration, there's a small fee. It's $5 a month. And with that said, yes, that's a cup of coffee, depending on where you live. But it's totally worth it in the sense that I can hop on, I can work on something, I can watch the results of somebody else working on the same project as me. We can lock down the bins. If you're familiar with, collaboration inside of other NLEs, like an Avid, you'll see very similar functionality, but we're doing this over the internet, and we're doing this I don't have any special hardware attached, which makes life really easy. So you just need internet connection, and you need to invite people to your project. So the first step is to go to just blackmagicdesign.com, and then you'll see here log in. There's a little cloud icon and log in, and then that takes you over here to this cloud beta. right? And in here, you'll see options for settings, and then you'll see project server. So you go here to project server, and I've created this project server here. See how it says create project library? So you would click this button, and that's where you would create basically something that's enabled inside of Resolve 18 that shows up after you've created it. So I created a library. It's called US Collaboration or US Collaboration, right? And inside of there, I have invited Diego and Max and myself. And yes, those are our emails. And then inside of here, right, now these are the projects that we are currently sharing, right? But the one that we're working on today is this Maxon 4K one, right? The color prep. So
Tony, I have a question about it. Is this available worldwide?
I'm using it worldwide. Is it 100%? It's still in beta. So being that you're the Blackmagic representative here, I would say, I've been able to use it with you in Colombia and with Max in Germany.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's encouraged that it's worldwide as of yet. But we like to kick the can down the road. So, we're trying it and it works with us just fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's the interesting point. So if you guys in the audience, after watching this in the webinar or in the recording, if you want to try it, and if you are like in the other side of the world, probably I see somebody from Taiwan is joining. If you want to try from there, let us know if it's working or not. Reach out to us at maxoncolor@maxon.net. Right?
Yeah, and I will add something is that right now, for example, the database is located in United States, in West United States. So in some way, we are really far away from the database. But the beautiful thing about it is that you will see that it works. It works actually not California. It works. So that what Max say about that, if someone is, I don't know, from Taiwan or even from, let's think, from London,
Australia or
Australia,
Exactly.
can actually be a collaborator. But maybe he will find a problem if he want to create his own project library. For example, in my case, I cannot, I'm in South America, so I cannot create because it's not still available in my in my region. But I can be a collaborator, and you will see that it works. That's what we are going to show you.
You basically, if I'm hosting it and it's on my account, then we can work together.
Yes.
Okay.
But I cannot create one for my own.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's why we know each other. So you can use my collaborative my project server.
Yeah.
So in here, right? We've already set this up. The only thing you need to set up, you sign in. It's $5 a month, pretty cheap. It's also still in beta, so there's some things that when they put the word beta in there, it means it's kind of like you gotta accept some of these little flaws here and there until they get patched. But for what it is, I haven't seen too many flaws, little minor things here and there. But I haven't experienced being kicked off of it or anybody being kicked off of it. The lag is pretty very low latency. So I'll show you here in just a sec. So I'm logged into here. This is my project server. We created this project library. All right, you click the button and you create one. And then you invite people to it on this page. All right, and all you have to do is click share and then type their email address in. And then you'll be able to share and invite them to the project on their end. They'll get an email requesting, saying you're welcome to this project, and that's when you would sign in. You need to make sure that email is associated with what you register when you click here. Instead of you logging in, you would actually register. So you click login, and then you register an email, and then once you're in that database, now we can share. Otherwise, it'll ask you to register. So jumping back to Resolve, I'm going to hit shift number 1, and I'll show you. This is what you're typically greeted with local. And then if you're hooked up, in-house at a post facility, an edit facility, and you're hooked up, via intranet, so a whole computer network and a server involved, that's where this comes into play. And then this is the cloud situation. So this is mirroring what you've seen there. It pops up inside of here. You'll see the same stuff pops up inside of here. So, and that's because we're signed in. So in here, one other thing to set this up, you need to right click, and there's an option here. And I love this option, but it does not work when you're doing any kind of collaboration. You need to put a check, take the check out of the box for dynamic project switching. So I can only be in this project at this time, not multiple projects. So if you haven't seen this feature, it's a great feature. But in order to do remote collaboration, you need to switch this feature off. Once you do that, just double click on the project. And then it loads. And then this is the same on the other end. So Diego and Max are already logged in, and you'll see them here. All right. And you can see that Diego's on a Mac and Max is on a PC. Let me go here, and there's a chat. So I'll click on this chat button here. Diego already says hi because he's a polite and nice person. Depending on the day, Max says hello world because he's got jokes. And I'm just gonna say hello, guys.
All right. So I will add something to the collaboration is that you can have two types of collaboration. One is like simultaneous, so that all of us are together in the same project and we can modify things in the same project. But there is another one that is like we can collaborate, but just in a read mode. So what this means, that we can go inside the project, we can see what Tony did, but we cannot chat, we cannot make any changes. In this case, what we are doing is like simultaneous collaboration, multiple artists working at the same time.
So you mean it's like there's also a possibility to just give somebody an access, a read-only access, you mean?
Yes, read mode.
Nice.
So you can lock down your bins, and you can unlock your bins, and you can also refresh your bins. So what does that mean? Somebody makes a change, somebody changes a name to a clip. You can refresh the bin, and then you're going to see that that clip is now named something else. Now there's a V2 of a timeline. Now there's Diego's version because Diego's working on the color and Max is working on the color, or Max is finishing and I'm still kind of assembling. Whatever the case may be, whatever our roles are, when you hit refresh, then you'll see, either new items in there, and then you'll see the icons here. And it kind of tells you, now I can see where Diego is. Diego's inside of this and inside of this timelines. So he has those two open. And then you'll see his icon is there. And if I go here, you can also see where other people's playhead is. So Diego, if you want to put your playhead, let's go into the Sammy clip.
All right.
And then go to just put your playhead somewhere inside of this timeline.
Okay, just wait me. It's loading. All right. So I'm already Sammy timeline.
So if I can share Diego's screen with a sec.
All right, yeah, for sure.
So,
okay, so now what you see is actually that I'm in the color page, and I'm in the same timeline as Tony. And because actually Tony was the first one that opened this timeline, I have a great playhead. So what this means is that I cannot make any changes here. I cannot make any changes because right now Tony is the editor. But I definitely can make another change if I'm in color, for example. I can make something like this, and immediately Tony will get like a refresh like icon saying that something was done. I would make something actually like hard, so that Tony can share with you that automatically he can refresh what I'm doing it.
Yeah, so let's move to Tony's screen now.
Okay. And then, so you're on.
I'm in clip 5. Time code is hour 07 seconds.
Yep, right here. 7:22. So if I go here, I want to say I got to go to the color page, right?
No, you actually. All right.
So I'm in here. I see that you're working on it, and I see that Max is on this other clip. So you can see there's Diego, there's Max. Diego made this change. And then let's go back to the edit page. Oh, there it is. So
Yeah.
I'll zoom in. And let me just show you this. You have to make your track a little bit taller to see it. You'll see on this clip here, there's that little tab. And what you do is you click right here in the top right-hand corner, you'll see that refresh. When I click the refresh, now I can see the color.
Yeah,
So this is what Diego applied to that clip.
but actually in the viewer, in the timeline viewer, you see also a refresh button, a
Yeah,
yellow one.
that's what I was just showing in the top right-hand corner.
Yeah.
So make another change. So here it is.
All right, there you go.
Yep.
So now I'm going to make one green.
Okay. Click on
So-
that button there.
Yeah,
And
so
I'll
you
go-
see, as you see, probably it's like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's not immediately, but he sees.
Yep.
He sees. That's the good
Yes.
thing. I mean, he doesn't need to see immediately what I'm doing because he's editing. He's editing at the same time. He
Yes.
can be doing trim. He can be adding clips and so on. He's not. I mean, that thing.
Here's also, just to give some perspective is when you're doing this, like I would duplicate and he would have his version, I would have my version. So we don't overlap. And then basically, I want to make sure I'm at a good point where picture is locked before he's over here doing this. If you were jumping ahead like this, if I want, I can always just click this button here and disable all color in the top right-hand corner. He could keep working and he could keep doing all this, and it doesn't affect me, but if I wanted to stay in the same timeline, I can do that, and I don't have to refresh. But I do have the option to refresh if I want. But I can also disable color as a whole if I wanted to just bypass all the grades. But now I can see, you'll see a little tab on each one of these. And each one of these clips right here are all being adjusted. So when I click refresh and I go to those clips, so I'll go to this one. And you'll see right here also, these are the playheads, right? These are playheads that where Diego is or where Max is. And you can actually see those update. So when they move their clips and they go to different clips, you'll see those little gray like triangles right here. Those are where Max and Diego are currently. So wherever that is, also the flavor of that refresh button changes depending on where you are. So when I'm in here, that refresh button changes. And you can see I'm updating on an individual basis here. So I'll go back to the edit page, those go away. And then, if they were on the edit page, I would see those same playheads on the edit page as well. So Max, maybe if you can hop on the edit page.
Yeah. I am actually, how do you call it? Creating.
I
how do you
see.
call it?
I see.
Exactly.
now you can-
I'm actually in the color page. Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
I'm in the color page. So what I'm doing in the color page is actually I'm using a plugin called Magic Bullet Looks. It's a plugin from Red Giant Magic Bullet Suite. What you can see is that I'm applying one plugins in this clip. Of course I can also do the plugins in the timeline if I want to. But I'm just wondering what going to happen if somebody that doesn't have the same license with me, how do you call it, experience this workflow. So for example, Tony, if we go to your screen, and if you go to the clip number 7,
Okay.
what is happening there? Because I'm
Let me go to
applying
clip
Magic
number
Bullet
7.
Looks. Yeah.
Here's clip number 7.
Yeah. Is there any
And-
refresh button?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not in
might-
my
it
case
might-
also. Yeah, not in my case.
Okay.
It might take a little
So,
a few
the-
minutes.
Actually, then the recommended workflow in this case, if I may share my screen. So, like if you want to use Magic Bullet Looks for this workflow, probably what you can do is that you can go to Looks, and then save this as a new look. And you get, of course, you can like for example, Sammy look. And then you can dedicate a specific folder and then just press save. And you can go to your custom folder and locate any of this one. I couldn't find mine. Where is it? There you go. Go to the Explorer and just, how do you call it? Just copy the file and distribute it to Tony manually. And by doing that, probably Tony will be able to see exactly what I am creating.
Yes.
In the, so preset workflow.
And you can
is
do
still,
that.
Yeah.
You can do that Mac and PC as well.
Exactly. Preset workflow is still working with Magic Bullet looks, or Magic Bullet Suite in this case. If you are working with somebody else's, collaborating with somebody else's who happen to have the same license. So back to you, Tony.
Okay. So back to the edit page, just to show you, while we're doing this, he says, how is the edit? I can say, I am working on the last few clips. Can you, and mind you, you have things like Zoom, like this is great to have, but if you really needed to do this, pick up the phone or jump on WhatsApp or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But for what this is, we're in here and we could be chatting and he could be in the other room or he can be across the globe. And I can say here, like, can you grade the intro while I am doing that? Max,
Yeah.
can you assemble the credits? And these are all things that we can kind of jump on and collaborate on as a team here. And then again, if you need to make a V2 and create your own bin for the work.
And this chat features is particularly nice, especially if you're working with a working in a facility where any other mean of communications is limited. For example, Skype or Zoom, because normally they are protected with their how do you call it, virtual private network, right? So I guess if Resolve is allowed, then this chat will also work for the people that works behind the VPN.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
So I want to show you something nice. For example, right now Max is in
Yeah,
color.
I will share the screen. Share your screen, Diego.
Yeah, Max is in color, Tony is in edit, and I'm in Fusion right now. I'm in Fusion and I can start like doing like, for example, different like, I don't know, text or something like that. And we can like three artists, different like disciplines and working together. So right now we don't need to export something to Tony, he download it or something like that. We are working together and in different like pages. This is something really interesting and really cool.
And perhaps the audio engineer can also work in the Fairlight like right away. As well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The key factor here, because I know we didn't mention this before, and this is a big deal. So if I could share my screen. So the key factor here is our media management has the same path. So we all have this. This is our how we have things here. Let me do one quick thing. I want to show. I'm going to show in the window here. I want to see my path bar. So this is what we have so far. Under desktop, Maxon collab spelled exactly the same, and media exactly the same. You need to mirror your media, otherwise you're going to do this lovely dance of back
Media
and forth,
offline.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Media offline here, then Diego links it here, and it's media offline for me and Max.
Yes,
So
same
in order to
names.
keep it keep this naming consistent and
Same
keep the
name.
root directory the same.
Exactly.
So
same name,
we
same
all
folder
have-
structure. Sorry,
Yes,
Tony.
when they're
Go
all on the desktop. No, it's fine. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They all need to be on the desktop. If they're not on the desktop, you run into some issues. Like if you were doing this and you were on your NAS or SAN or whatever the case may be, that's fine. just make sure that you mirror what's on the hard drive. The hard drive mirrors what's on the stand. So that file path needs to be consistent. Otherwise, you're going to do that dance of online, offline, online, offline. And that's never fun. So should we talk about the other part? This is this is great. I think, the fact that
Tony,
you see how easy it is to set up.
if you see like in the video, you see that we also how do you call it, tease some other part of these collaborations things, right? As you can see that you are creating a node in Frame.io, and then you also using your EDL in the Resolve. Could you also show that part to us, please?
Yes, you're one step ahead of me. So that's where I was going, but I appreciate it. So so if I go here, now you can see I have all these markers. And if you're not familiar, by the way, with the edit index, it's pretty awesome to use. I use it as a checklist. Often when I have notes back from a client, a producer, whatever, I tend to use this. And I'm going to show you how to set this up really quick, because we're going to use that hand in hand with these markers here. And these markers came from Frame.io, and I'm going to show you how to set that part up. And this works the same in Adobe as well. So in here, that's the edit index. I'm on the edit page. I'm going to go here and right click, and I'll show you. All you really need in order to have this set up right here is the number clip, the record in. That means your timeline time code. That's your record in. Otherwise, source in has to do with the actual source time code of the clip. So you want record in. You could put record out if you want. It's not really needed, as you just need to see at what point, not at what point that it ends. So number of clip, record in, the color of the marker, that's this right here, and the notes. And notes mean what's on the marker. So I just have this one, this one, this one, and this one. So number, record in, color, and notes. And then I'll create a timeline here. And I'm just going to call this like marker checklist. Oh, I got to spell check correctly. Marker checklist. I hit OK. And one other thing you need to do is go here to these three dots and make sure you do show all markers, because you can actually filter these. So if you made different marks for, if you're just looking at VFX, if you're just looking at edit review, you can use a color-coded system. But for this, we want everything to be visible. So show all, put a check there, and then you'll start to see things populate. If you do not, click here and show all markers, and even show all here, it'll limit and you won't see anything in here. So show all markers, that's the key to get that set up here. Okay, now that I'm in here, I'm just gonna show you. We have some markers set up, and these markers were sent to Frame.io because I have synced this timeline. I've synced an offline resolution version of this timeline inside of Frame.io. To do so, two things that you need to do. The first one is go to DaVinci Resolve, go to Preferences, and then from Preferences, go to Internet Accounts, and then sign into your Frame.io account. Hit Save. Once you've done that, now you have your Frame.io account synced with your DaVinci Resolve application. Then when you go, let's say I want to take this timeline and I want to sync it, so now I can have markers and everything work inside of Frame.io. Let me give you a quick disclaimer here. We're in August of 2022, and this currently works, but I don't know the future of this, being that, one is Frame.io is third party to Resolve. Resolve is building their own solution, and Frame.io is owned by Adobe. So we don't know how long we'll have these overlapping circles, but in the meantime, this currently works even on the latest build, which is, in 18, I think it's 18.1.
Yes.
So of DaVinci Resolve Studio. So if we go here, and I'm going to now go to the Deliver page. In the Deliver page, you have a bunch of options, but we want to go to the Frame.io option. And the Frame.io option is there because I signed into my internet account. So I go here, click on Frame.io, and now this gives you specific settings just for Frame.io. You don't necessarily need the 4K resolution. You don't need, the high res. It's just really to mark up and to watch. If you wanted to do it for picture purpose, then you can set this to something higher. You can even set it to 8K if you want. I'm not 100% if that works in Frame.io. So instead of changing this file name or anything, I'm going to do what's called a wildcard. So if you hold the Shift key and you hit the number 5, you're now going to see that this gives you a menu, and this is basically every category that exists inside of Resolve as far as metadata or anything that has to do with your clip, right? This is a timeline, so I'm going to look for timeline name. So I'll click timeline name, and now that's going to basically name my clip based on the timeline itself. And then I can click here, click right there, and I can navigate down to the project. All right, see where it says browse upload to? I'll click here, and then I'll go to Max the Colorista. All right, and I can even twirl this down, and then there's subfolders, but for right now, I'm just gonna go and click on this one, and I would hit OK. And then what happens is you dial in your settings, you add to render queue, and then you render it. Right now, I've already done that. I went and I did the work ahead of time, and you'll see that it says upload completed. And it also lives inside of a cache file. So you can also clear that out just to show you where that is. DaVinci Resolve, preferences, and then here you'll see browse location. It lives inside the movies folder on a Mac, and you can clear this out if you start generating so many versions. And especially if you're using 4K, not a bad idea to clear that folder out. Okay, so in here, this lives in Frame.io. It's already been uploaded. And let me just jump to my screen where I have my Frame.io session. Here's my Frame.io session. They're both synced, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to make let me delete all these markers. So these are all different markers, and I can go in here, and I can just kind of go in, and I'm going to delete some of these comments here. And they're not necessarily going to go away off the bat, to my knowledge, but I'll delete them here, and I'll delete them in Frame.io. I want to say if I delete here, they should sync up. Let's just give that a test. And there's definitely a faster way. I want to say there's hide all comments, hide completed comments. But I'm going to take the long route because it's fun to do this painful stuff when you're live on a broadcast on YouTube. So I'm going through, we're almost done. I didn't make like 50 of them. I only made like 10. So here we go. I'm deleting them. And then if you look, they actually cleared up on my timeline as well.
Nice.
So they are directly in sync. Now, let's get back to that. And I'm going to make some markers in Frame.io as though I were the client. So I'll go here and let me flip back to Frame.io. And I'm going to say, and I'll do them with annotations as well. So here's one, and I'm just going to make a comment. Dust is great. Please add more with particles, right? And then I'm going to draw in. Of course. Look at that. One step ahead, man. It's like you're a genius or something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say add one there, right? And then I'm going to add another here. And why not another here? So I've added 3. Mind you, look at the way that these arrows look. They're not going to be exact when you get on the Frame.io side. I'm going to hit send. Let me go over to Frame.io, give that a moment. And then here it is.
There you go. There you go.
And if you look,
yeah,
right, this is native to Resolve. So that's what these shapes look like in Resolve. So to translate over, the position is there, the idea is there, but yeah, the arrows look a little bit different.
but
so
it gets the idea through.
Yeah, exactly. We're using it for that idea. You can even draw a box. So if I go here and, that person on the other end is that dense that I have to also draw a box, and on top of that box, I'm going to say here and here, right? And then I'm going to send this and say like, I mean this way, right? And I'll hit send.
And just a just a side note, as Tony is
Sure.
creating this node, I am receiving an email on my side notifying that Tony has made a change in the folder in the Frame.io.
Yeah, and also what I have to say is that to have like this synchronous between Frame.io and Resolve, Tony had to open Frame.io before opening Resolve. Because if, for
Yes.
example, if he's in Resolve and then like in the middle of the project and then he open Frame.io, so they will not be in sync. So as a tip, open Frame.io first and then open Resolve and have it up. I mean, you cannot have it open, like it's not necessary, but open like Frame.io so that Resolve knows that it's connected.
That's
And
a
here's
great tip
another
over
thing.
there.
Yeah.
This we just jump right into it, but Frame.io is a service. You got to pay for Frame.io. If you have a Creative Cloud account, you get Frame.io included. I'm not sure how many. I think it's 100 gigs or something like that
Yeah.
for every Creative Cloud account. So if you have, Adobe Premiere and the whole Creative Cloud suite, you get Frame.io included with that, which is a pretty amazing value. So just so you know, if I'm in here, when you double click on a Frame.io marker versus a regular marker, if I just put a marker here, right? This is just a standard marker, right? Standard marker. This is what you get, right? And these are separate from here. On the Frame.io marker, you're going to see there's like basically a dot or a bullseye inside of that, and you'll see that it looks different. That's the shape of the standard marker, and that's the shape of the Frame.io marker. So if I go here, double click, that's my standard marker. That doesn't share on the Frame.io project. So here's the Frame.io project. You don't see it there. But if I were to go here and even see how this lives here, I can take this comment and kind of shift that time code. Or maybe even, let's see, I'll edit the comment. And because I did it, it's weird because I did this right on top of the other one. So maybe if I delete the other one, or see how this mark is complete. Here's something that I really like about this style of marker is if you double click on a Frame.io marker, now you'll actually have this similar look. All right, you'll even have your avatar from Frame.io, and you click here, and you can mark as complete. So when I do that, I go to Frame.io, right? On the other end, that will be marked as complete. It takes it a moment, but that'll be marked as complete. And then you can even go here, and it'll say like hide and show for completed markers. So, that's another benefit of this is that you have that checklist. So I personally like to do it in the host application. This is great, but I do it in the host application because I can say right here, when I'm done, I would just kind of put inside of this marker here. I'll double click on it and I can go and I can like leave a comment here if I want to, or I can even mark it off, put a check in the box, or I'm pretty used to doing stuff like this on the standard marker. I would go to the standard marker and then ahead of it, right, I'll put done underscore, and then I can even change the color. So once if it was red, it needed to be done, then I change it to blue or I gray it out and I do that and that's done. And then you can use a color-coded system to kind of go down and make your own checklist. So I do it in the host application like that. Inside of here, you can mark these things as complete. I marked it as complete. Let's see if it updated in Frame.io. Maybe I need to refresh Frame.io. And there it is. You can see it was marked as complete here. So, but typically I don't think you need to refresh. My computer was just being stubborn at that moment. So, but the idea is I can make annotations and everything inside of here. And then I can also, pick them up over here. You can make a checklist. You can use, all of these. I can also, here's the other part to that is if you're in other applications that don't necessarily sync up or later down the line, you may not be syncing up. All right. You can go to Frame.io and take all of these markers here. And there's a little option. It's under here. And it says download for this program, that program, this program, this program. And then it becomes, here's another one. Download as an XML. These are standardized. If you want to make an Excel spreadsheet of your comments, here it is. If you want to integrate this into any of your NLEs, here it is. This is a standard version, right? And then if you just want this as plain text, right? You'll get a plain text file with the time code, and they're all listed. So you can have all of these, and you can export them so you can send them around as emails as well. So just in case you're not on Frame.io, you're collaborating with somebody that's not on Frame.io, somebody doesn't understand how to get on Frame.io, you know, all of these different things, there's all these easy buttons to standardize all the work that was put in, and you can, you know, share them inside of an NLE, or make them as just a text document with time code, or start creating an Excel spreadsheet of these. So this is just one way to kind of, you know, allow somebody to have a review. You have that review session just done over the internet. Again, as of right now, Resolve they have showcased it at NAB, but you know, whenever it releases, it may release at IBC, it may release, you know, later on down the line, but you know, whenever it does, there'll be a similar situation that pairs well with this project server that allows for another page and another icon here where you have a similar native solution. So just so you know that's in the works, that's already been shown, and that's public knowledge. But as of right now, Frame.io is still working inside of here. Resolve is creating their own solution. And you could, even if Frame.io is or is not available inside of Resolve directly, you'll still be able to do all of this stuff with every application. So Frame.io, if you're used to it, you love it, and it's not native anymore, you still have all these options to play well with everything that you might use in post. So just understand that. And the great part about it is you can do this on your phone, you can do this on an iPad. So the person that you're shipping this movie to, they can review this stuff even on their television. I want to say that there's Frame.io for the Apple TV as well.
Wow.
So a lot of different ways to do this.
I think we
You know,
can
this is
report
for-
back about the update when we are at IBC, Tony.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
It's
see.
just
We have
round
no
the
idea.
corner. It's just round the corner.
Yes,
I think
it is.
we'll
3
we'll-
weeks, 4
exactly.
weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks actually. Yeah.
We'll update that. we'll
And
see.
here's
Go on.
one more thing I'll show, just to show you this. I'm gonna just make a couple markers. Here, I like what you did. All right, I'm just gonna copy that a couple times. Send. Let's go here, just because I want to show you that once I've done this, and I go to Resolve. Great job. Everybody gets a sticker on the refrigerator. And then look, on top of that, and go over here, and I'll find this part. I'll put an emoji there, and I'll put what he said. It's beautiful. I had to spell it right.
It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Send. Now, inside of here, once they all populate, I can go, this is my timeline, right? So Sammy NAB, right click, and then go to timelines, export, and then you can export your edit index. So all the
Yes.
stuff that's in there, I can export that as a text file or as a CSV. All right, so .txt, I'll just export it right here, hit save, hide this, let's hide that, let's take a look. And this right here, this is all the work that was done. Mind you, this is plain text, all right, but now it's made somewhat of a spreadsheet inside of plain text. All right, these are all the markers there, but I can also make that as a CSV as well. So if I went back and go here, right click, timelines, export, all right, and then we can go to edit index right there, and now choose CSV, which is a little more standardized, hide that. And then
Just
this
pretty
is something you can, yeah, and you can bring that into Google Docs. You can bring that into, you know, Microsoft Office. You can do whatever you'd like. And look, the emoji still stands. That's how you know it's strong. So, and it's beautiful.
It's
And look at that.
beautiful.
It tells you that under color, instead of it saying color, it's saying that's a Frame.io marker.
Yes, that's good.
Oh.
That's really nice.
It's beautiful. So that's multiple ways to share. Just to recap, if there's any questions, you know, if you guys want to add anything to this.
Yeah, so I will say something that in this case, this is actually great because what we were doing before was sending a video, I don't know, by WeTransfer or some other app. Then the other person need to download, and what the other person was doing is was like he was looking at the video and writing some notes by email, time codes and so on. Then he answered that email with the time code and with the notes. Then probably me or Tony will see that email, and he had in one window the email and in the other window resolve, and I can start like comparing and so on, and that will take a lot of time. So what in some way this app is doing is like is giving us like a way like to review close to real time, let's think,
Yep.
like synchronous review and also asynchronous review, and in a way that works really good. As you see, Tony was doing that in real time, and usually, I mean, I love it. I love that option
There's
because
definitely a
it's
few seconds of lag. It's you know, to be sending stuff across the globe and to be like
Yeah.
uploading the different services for what it is. Markers, like, you're not going to be need. You don't really need real-time markers. Like,
no.
you need them in a sense of like, I'm gonna see them in a few seconds, but like for what it is, for the amount of information you can send back and forth, like, it's pretty useful to be able to just grab this and then export standardized files, and nothing is you have proprietary methods and you have ways that these things connect, but for a third-party service to plug right in and work, it's pretty amazing. And then also what's to come in the near future is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah.
So all I would say is, like, if you use Frame.io and one day there's an update and it's not inside of Resolve, you can still use it with Resolve, using it in those methods where you export. You can export for Resolve all your markers and comments, or you can also make text documents, Excel documents, and all this stuff with the comments. So there's a lot of things that you can still do with these that will work together inside of your post-production ecosystem.
Yeah.
So just because things might change or shift, you still have plenty of options.
And I will
Exactly.
add something. I will add on something, Mas. Can I share my screen?
Of course, of
Sure.
course.
Yeah. So that was like in some way like a synchronous review of what we were doing. Yeah. But in Resolve, actually, you have also nowadays in the 18 something that is called DaVinci Resolve Monitoring. That I'm sure probably you guys at the IBC will see more a little bit about this. This means that you can send signal to another like box, output like playback box in another part of the world, and he will see in real time what you are editing and also what you are grading. This is
Oh,
a
that's
great
very
option
nice. Yeah.
for real.
This is good for visual.
Where
This is
where
really
to
good for
see
visuals.
that option, Diego? Where to access that option?
So actually, it's here in the Finder.
Yeah.
I'm in Mac. So DaVinci Resolve and DaVinci Resolve Monitoring. Right now, it's just the only one that can send signal is a PC, is Windows, and any Mac can get it. But you need that IO box, a Decklink or a Ultra Studio,
Yeah.
yeah, to get that signal. But they will give you real-time collaboration with a
So
client.
it means that you can grade from Colombia and your client in Germany can see what you are doing live.
Yes.
So that's another solution there. That's pretty neat. Yeah. Amazing. Right.
So I'll say, for all the options that we do have. Sorry, I'm not centered in my circle because of where my chair is. There you go. There you go. So we have a lot of options here. Just know that things may shift, but there's always going to be a standardized method, I want to say, that kind of keeps things friendly to all platforms. XML is always your best friend,
CSV.
EEL,
CSV.
and
Yeah.
CSV, TXT. I use TXT all the time. I mentioned in another one of these webinars how you can take all these transcriptions and turn them into a TXT file, and you can actually copy and paste those into Google Translate and translate them over if you want as well. Like, there's so many things that they're new features. They get better, but there's also the standards that you can ship things out in, like a text file, like an Excel document, or even an XML, so you can take it to another program and it stays standardized. So that's all I really have. I know we got 5 minutes left, so again, you've seen all these different styles of collaboration. We can at some point do hop in Adobe and show how easy it is. And this literally has its own panel for Frame.io. So you see exactly Frame.io inside of your Adobe Premiere session. So it makes life that much easier. So
Yeah, that let's wrap up. That's also trigger me. How do you call it? That's also lead me to a questions. How do you guys collaborate out there? How do you remote collaborate? It's really interesting to know how you work. If you want to share your story, simply email us to maxoncolor@maxon.net and let's chat, let's share, right? Because sharing is caring, right? Exactly, maxoncolor@maxon.net, as you can see on
Yeah,
your screen.
and what you should think is that we show us different options. At the
Yeah.
end, you have to select the options that is up to your workflow. Not every
Exactly.
workflow is the same.
Yeah.
So maybe select that one, and in that case, one will work perfect, the other one will not work.
Yeah.
So every workflow is different. And the key of the success is to try them and to be comfortable with them.
yes.
Exactly.
And
That's a very
also
wise, Diego.
pick up another hard drive, buy 3 hard drives, right? You always need backups anyway. And then, like, for instance, I shot some stuff with Diego in Colombia, and you know, he has the mirrored hard drive that I do, so there's no need to transfer media over the internet, because if you're in that one place with that person at the same time, everybody goes home with a hard drive. Hard drives are relatively inexpensive, and that doesn't mean it's your edit drive. It's just a little quick $60 2 terabyte solution on Amazon, you know, like the Seagate or the G-Tech or the Western Digital, whichever flavor you want. But go home with a drive mirrored, and you don't even have to transfer over the internet. So that's the more analog version of this.
Yeah.
We can just trade project files, and it makes
Yeah.
life easy.
So,
And never change your file names. Don't change your file names shot by the camera. Change them in the application, but don't change the file names from the camera.
that's the mantra there. I hope you.
Yeah,
Well,
there are some exceptions, but never change it.
Well, thank
so,
you.
in wrapping up, if you want to check the recording of these sessions, simply go to YouTube and type in Maxon Training Team. The recording of these sessions will be uploaded there too. And if you want to check any other webinars, you can also find them in Maxon Training Team YouTube channel. And don't forget, check out the upcoming webinars at maxon.net/events. For example, next Monday, Tony will be back and we'll be talking about the grading aspect of this very same project. So I hope to see you in any other webinar, one of our webinar, probably next Monday. And thank you for joining us today. I hope you pick up something from this episode. And how do you call it? I hope to see you in the next episode as well. And thank you very much for joining. This is Max, and thank you very much, and see you soon, right?
Yeah. See you
See you,
everyone
Diego.
next time.
See you, Tony.
All right. Take
Yeah.
it easy.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.